Okay. Me too, Sherilyn. Wishing I would have made coffee. The whole reason why I'm 2 hours late today is because I had to take a nap. And so... It's alright, Smokey, I just got here. I was shocked to not see you saying, okay, it's 4 o'clock, where is he? You're the one who keeps me honest when it comes to the time. Okay, so there's a lot going on. Most of it is just... First of all, when I look away and I look back here, it's not because I'm trying to be deceptive or anything like that. You all have to realize, for me, in these lives, you're all looking at me, but me, I'm just looking at my phone. I'm just looking at myself, and I get tired of looking at myself. I get tired of staring into the camera and looking at myself on this. So when I look away, it's just because I want something better to look at, you know? And it's not deceptive. When I'm in front of people, it doesn't work that way. But right now, on here, all I am is me talking to myself on my phone. Second of all, this whole thing that now Daniel Dowd, the fucking convicted pedophile who's meeting kids online and came in town and murdered Owen, along with his little cohort, Doug Mesner, who was all involved with it as well, who's the one who was instrumenting the shit, I believe, along with Thomas Schoenberger. That's what I personally believe. Now they're running around saying stupid shit about Walt and Mark, who I haven't spoken to since I was 20 fucking years old. Everything that went down in Franklin happened when I was 20 years old. David Klotz got murdered. Everything went down. I was 20 when it happened. And so therefore, 20 years ago, 28 fucking years ago is when all that shit happened. And I haven't talked to Mark and Walt since before they went to jail. You know? There's nothing there. The fact that these anonymous dumbass fuckheads will run around and now start spouting bullshit, they're just hoping that it's 28. Oh, 38. Thank you, because my math skills suck. Sorry. I should have counted that one out on my fingers. I'm always best that way. So, 38 years ago, you know, and they're gonna bring... There's nothing there. I honestly do not believe there was anything there with Mark and Walt at the beginning anyway. They were patsies. They got set up. And, when it comes down to it, who was my first focus in all of this? Nebraska State Patrolman John Pankinen. That's who my first focus was, because I went to go have them I wanted him to test my DNA and compare it to Ricky Chaddock. Not realizing that the dude was involved with the whole Franklin thing, all from the very beginning. He was the one who quieted Alicia Owen. Because Alicia Owen was the one to break all this shit open. Because had they just... I don't know. I don't think we had DNA testing back then. But she was carrying the chief of police of Omaha at the time, Robert Wadman's baby. And she was 15 at the time, which means what? She fucked him when she was 14? You know? 9 months. They're gonna run with anything they want. And I find it interesting... That thing that Pootie sent, who did he include in all the mentions, other than me? All the fucking people I've called out for being part of this child trafficking ring, every fucking one of them. They're all connected. And that's what I say. They brag about it. I will put the link I didn't put the link in there, but when I get done with this video, I'll put the link. You can go to my blog. You can read the frickin' exchange. You know, you can go read the whole exchange. But it's stupid. And I'm not even going to worry about it because it's so stupid. And that's how I feel, is that it's stupid. They're just going to run around and try anything they can to try and distract and deflect from what I'm saying about them because they don't want to be investigated. And they all do it. Someone left a comment. I have to post that to my blog. Acting like he was Doug Mesner. Who the fuck knows who it is? One of their dumbass idiots. Daniel Dowd is Pootie Twang. Geo Farnsworth at the time, what was he? Clown Sex Sucks. He loses his fucking accounts over and over and over, left and right. I've never seen anything quite like it. But maybe if they did not want to be investigated for the murder of Owen, they shouldn't have bragged about it. I don't understand how that's fucking rocket science. You know? I just don't get it. And Doug Mesner, he's involved with all kinds of crimes. All kinds of crimes, including murders. You know, including murders. They all need to be investigated. But again, if it makes people happy to investigate me first, go for it. Go for it. Investigate me. You won't find shit. They've been looking for fucking decades. They've been combing through every aspect of my life. They have shit out online saying, if you know shit about David Shurter, get a hold of us. I shit you not. They do. And nothing. Because there's nothing to find. There's nothing there. You know? And so they can pull whatever shit they want out of their asses. It's not going to make me run with my tail between my legs. It's just, to me, it's kind of amusing. You know? When I was dealing with John Pankinen, a woman ingratiated herself not only into my life, but my sister Kathy's life, and told us her name was True Pankinen, and that she was John Pankinen's sister. And that all happened at the exact same time. So that's what was going on. As far as Doug goes, Dougie, I know you fucking watch these things. I know you always have. You know? And I have been wanting to say this for days. I just haven't really wanted to focus on... I just haven't really wanted to do one of these because I've been just living my life. Yesterday was a great day. Yesterday was a great day. And living my life. And I'm tired of them taking up my time 24/7. And so, see all that Phantom Venom twerk and I'll subscribe. I'm not fucking Nathan, who actually reached out to me, left a comment. I saw it last night. Well, I woke up this morning and saw it, that it was left last night. I'm glad you're up and kicking as well, Nathan. I would really like it if you would start to realize that you're nowhere near as weak as they want to convince you. Nowhere near as crazy as they want to convince you. And that there are a lot of people who are praying for you and even more rooting for you. Just realize that, you know? Fuck them. Fuck all their shit. Stop doing. When they bait you, just don't take the bait. You know? Tell them to go fuck themselves. They sit anonymously in their fucking basements, hiding in the goddamn dark, doing all their weird shit, and then want everyone to actually, you know... To be quite honest, I'm not a fan of police. And my whole scope of dealing with all these fucking cops, I've only met one, maybe two, that were even worth a shit. You know, most of them suck. That's just my opinion. But as far as you, Doug, I'm gonna deal with you because you have it the best. When I say that God is working the family dynamics of the shit in my life. Thomas Schoenberger is my stepmother, and Tara Joyce is my sister Kathy, and Daniel Dowd is my brother Stephen, and Geo Farnsworth is like a dumb fucking shithead thing of my dad. And again, what I'm talking about, yes, I learned at a shamanic workshop, but this is a therapy thing too. Therapists actually use this technique to actually help people. So people stand as representations. Me, I actually not only stand in the middle of it so that it's all based around me, I actually stand on the sidelines too and represent someone. I represent my dead brother David, who is basically a non-entity. And so, but Doug, when it comes down to this whole situation, you have it the best. You get what you always fucking wanted, Lucian Greaves, founder of the fucking Satanic Temple. You get to be me. Because that's what you've always wanted. You've always wanted to be me. And so, next time around, you get to spend an eternity walking in my shoes, going through what I went through. However, no, I was not part of a child pornography ring, but my brother was, you know. Troubling videos. They spend a lot of time making video after video after video of me. Owen's brother never married Ricky Chaddock's mom. They were together, you know. They don't have me confused with anybody. They know my brother was part of the child trafficking ring. And they're trying to make me out to be, because I'm trying to get them investigated for all of their fucking crimes. And so if you actually feed into their stupid shit, which concerns me about you, because I know what they're like. I know what they're like. I know what the shit they say and the shit that they do. So people who are attracted to them, who are listening to them, who are doting on their every fucking thing, you're either one of them or you're a dumbass. You know? My brother was trafficked, and then in the end, he became a trafficker. No reason. That's okay, Penny. I just, you're good, you know? I just get irritated with dealing with their bullshit. I just get tired of dealing with their bullshit. And their constant harassment. Great. Now they're making videos about me, trying to implicate me. Now they've gotten away from showing my house blowing up and burning down. I guess those videos, since they were getting reported left and right and getting taken down, I guess he's not interested in fucking making videos of my house burning down. Or making songs about hurting me and my dogs and all of that. You know? I'm just... Yes, Susan, it could be a very interesting month for the Dark Clowns, you know? So, but Doug, you get to be me in the whole scope. However, heaven would never insult you by testing you at the level it tested me. My brother my brother spent in and out of jail. My brother died in Ocean City, Maryland. 2 years after my brother died in Ocean City, Maryland, a man by the name of, funny enough, Larry King Jr. got busted in Ocean City, Maryland with the biggest amount of satanic child porn they had ever seen, ever. I believe that collection was my brother's. Rusty Nelson spoke about a second photographer. That was my brother. If you can compare what my brother looked like with the long ass hair and that nasty unkept beard and that homeless fucking look, he looked remarkably like Rusty Nelson. You know? Frank Church, the dude who did the Frank Church Committee that was running around investigating all of the MK Ultra stuff. Do you know that my brother, who was a photographer, that was his one claim to fame? He took the picture of, when you pull up Frank Church and his picture comes up, my brother Steven is the one who took that took that picture. So, you know, but as far as you, Dougie, heaven would never insult you by testing you at the level that it has tested me. You are so much greater, so much more superior. So heaven is going to test you at the limit that you feel you need to be tested to show that you're superior to me. So you get to walk my shoes and go through all the shit, but the intensity is going to be greater because you're more superior than I am. You should be able to handle it easy peasy, right? And the second thing you need to realize next time around is you are already superior to me. So therefore, next time around, you don't get any of my attributes. You don't get any of my gifts. You don't get any of my connections. You get to deal with the shit walking in my shoes as you. You get to do it as you. And that's what you get to deal with next time around. Don't fucking for a moment think, Dougie, I've ever forgotten your stupid ass. You all wanted to play. I'm just simply playing. And I don't have to make fake ass videos and fake ass audio files and fake ass whatever. You've spent years doing that stupid shit, and now you want to be taken seriously because now you're using AI to produce who the fuck knows, who the fuck cares. The fact that you are so willing to bear false witness, which is a 10th commandment, by the way. So go ahead, do whatever the hell it is you feel you need to do. Knock yourselves out. You're gonna anyway. You can't control yourselves. You can't control yourselves. And so it's cloudy here today. It was dark. For those of you who keep asking me what this is about, this is my book. You can find it on Amazon. I sell it for $30. You won't get a signed copy on Amazon. I'm from the Midwest. I got nominated for Book of the Year, a satanic ritual abuse survivor story. This is all about my experiences with child trafficking in Omaha in the 80s with Franklin Credit. It was the precursor to Jeffrey Epstein and P. Diddy and however many others like them that are still out there working. Because there are, you know? Dude, if you were around and you had to watch kids getting murdered when you were under the age of 10, and then they murdered your friends, 2 years ago, they just came into town and murdered my fucking friend and then bragged about it. You know? If you could present all of that and not have an emotional reaction, then they would say that you had the wrong emotional affect. You know? So I'm supposed to be all rainbows and Skittles and flowers and fairies when I talk about this shit. Yes, the same Franklin scandal situation that dealt with the Johnny Gosch case. My father and my brother and the group they were involved with are the ones who abducted Johnny Gosch. The three brothers that Noreen Gosch has gone on and on and on and on about for years because she's a gatekeeper were the Aquazino brothers. They know who the brothers are. They know all of the shit. Troll time is exactly it, Susan. It's just... And I waited until 4 o'clock because I was tired. I had been up all day doing stuff, and it got to be around 1 o'clock, and I just got a hold of Sherilyn and told her I want to go on at 4 instead of 2. You know, I've talked to Noreen Gosch extensively and Paul Bonacci extensively. I have spoken throughout the years to every single person involved. John DeCamp, not a good guy. Noreen Gosh, not a good guy. Nobody in town even knew who Paul Bonacci was until they sent Paul Bonacci and Troy Bonner, who I knew personally and knew him as a bear boy. They surrounded that girl. And then all of their bullshit is why a grand jury said that it was a carefully crafted hoax. You know? Never actually said who was behind the hoax, just that it was a hoax. You know? The book, if you want a signed copy from me, they're $30. My PayPal and my Venmo are just my first initial D, my last name Shurter. So it's just D and then my last name Shurter. Tell me who I'm inscribing it to. Tell me where I'm sending it. And $30 is in the United States. If you're out of the United States, get a hold of me. I don't care. The D Shurter mod account, Sherilyn actually gets to that. Or I never, to be quite honest, I didn't even know Larry King. You know, it is on Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon. You know, Paul Bonacci is a bad dude. Is a bad dude. Has always been a bad dude. They're all bad dudes. You know, there's a reason why everybody thinks they know everything about Franklin and nothing's ever been done, because they don't know shit. They don't know the real story. And the people who were heralded as heroes, that, you know, it is at the library too. So you can get it at the library. You know, I'm very familiar with Heaven. That's true, Sherilyn. I'm very you know. Hello from Poland. I'm going to try and stop cussing. I apologize, but I've been dealing with this crap for so long, and I've been irritated beyond... No. I don't go into Hummel Park. The last time I went into Hummel Park, it was right after my dad died. And my stepmother sent me my dad's hat that he wore when he was dying. She thought it as an insult. Oh, all I got from my father's death was his old hat. But as a shaman, you know, as a shaman, I couldn't have been given a greater gift. And so I went to Dodge Park, I had my drum, I was wearing my dad's hat, and went up into Hummel Park and summoned all of those souls that had been sacrificed in that park. And helped them, you know. And so that was the last time I've been. One other time when my videographer was here doing my documentary, but when we went there, I was so stressed out that I went to sleep in the car, wouldn't even get out of the car. So and so it's just the day for trolls. You know, it's just the day for trolls. It's because they're all involved with child trafficking and a bunch of fucking murders. It was very traumatic. It's been nothing but a great deal of trauma. But they run around, just this last week, they've been running around saying how they're untouchable. Nobody can touch them. And God loves that in people. Because those that are running around telling everybody that they're untouchable, what heaven likes to do is reach out and touch them. And that's what's happening, is that they're being reached out and touched. I need to shave my mustache. They're getting touched. And that's what heaven likes to do. When you think you're untouchable, heaven likes to reach right on out and touch you. And they're fucked. They're fucked. DavidShurter.com is where you want to go. You know, my mod does not play. She doesn't play at all. And she has Sherilyn doesn't play. And Sherilyn realizes that she has complete authority. I am in the process of actually writing a couple more books. One about being gay. Because if you go read the stuff, the comments on the book on Amazon, it's like people read 2 different books. Some people are talking about how it's the greatest book ever on survivors and survivor writing the book. And then if you read the other group, it's all about me being gay and how awful the book was because it was all about me being gay. So I've decided I'm actually going to write a book about how it was that I lived the gay lifestyle and what I think and how I went through. This is the book that is written and published. And so, and if you don't want to do PayPal or Venmo, it is on Amazon. You know, it's actually the extended version that did not get nominated for Book of the Year. It's the unedited version. It's for free on my blog, davidshurter.com. And so you can go read the stuff. And so, every time Sherilyn whacks a troll, well, I sure do smile. I will say that. Chicago. That's where Carrie Caradori got all of the shit to bust this open. And on his way home, he was flying his private plane with his son AJ. I think he was, 8? He was flying back from a baseball game, and his plane disintegrated in the air. Like Erling, Iowa gas station disintegrated with that first explosion. You know? And now they're texting me. It's just, they won't ever stop. And they're trying to shut me down. So they're just coming up with all kinds of stupid shit. That's all lies. It's all lies. You know? And that's why I don't worry about it. I don't care. They send their stupid shit to me, and I send it to law enforcement. You know? That's how it works. You know? If I was a bad guy, do you really think I would have gone to the cops and forced them to take my DNA? You know? But I wanted them to compare it to Ricky Chaddick. I knew that my dad was behind it and there was DNA left. But I don't trust John Pankinen. I don't trust John Pankinen as far as I can throw myself. And I can't throw myself at all. You know? They do bind themselves to me by attacking. That's the reason why I'm involved with all of this. Heaven told me that I needed to actually get them to willingly bind themselves to me as adults. And in order to do that, I had to take a stand and make them stand up and try and strike me down. And they've tried to do that over and over and over. You know? I do still struggle with the past even today. Just, I don't know what's in the air or whatever. But that's why I'm so tired. Because the last few days, I've been dreaming about little boys screaming again. And they're always bad dreams. Obviously. Because why are they screaming? Because they're being fucking sliced and diced alive. You know? My post-traumatic stress disorder gets kicked in. And the shit just, you know... I haven't ever had families reach out to me, but I have had survivors. I've had tons of survivors reach out to me and thank me for my book. They read my book and then suddenly they didn't feel crazy anymore, because that's what they do. When you go through this shit and then you try to start talking it out loud, because that's how people process, is you talk about it out loud, then they start telling everybody around you and everybody you know and everybody that they will even fucking listen what a fucking piece of shit you are and how you're a crazy liar and how you're a drug addict and how you're this and you're that and oh my god and do you know that he's a 7-headed hydra that eats small goats in one bite and that's what it's like. That's what they're doing now. That's what they're doing now. It is awesome. And when I feel like I haven't accomplished much, and I do go through periods where I feel like I haven't accomplished shit with all of this, it does help that I have so many people that have told me, who have thanked me for my book. You know? Patients thought they were crazy with flashbacks. Yeah, because 40 is the age for most people. For me, it happened earlier. But 40 is when your programming no longer, because they haven't been reinforcing the programming. And so then it starts to break down, and when it starts to break down, you start to remember. Because hypnotherapy and LSD and torture and all of that shit, that was all part of it. And we were all kids. I was under the age of 10. You know? The only thing that saved me is a dude who I think was a cop. Found us in Fremont looking for his daughter and my family, my father, my stepmother, my sister Cindy, my brother-in-law Ralph, my brother Steven. All got together one night and made me throw a match on him and light him on fire, which did not kill him, by the way. He started screaming. I think that when my dad took the shovel and fucking sliced into his stomach with it, I am pretty sure that's what killed him, but I don't know, because I was sent upstairs and I went and hid in a goddamn corner for the whole night. Was terrified that I was next. You know? Thank you for some of the chat questions. I agree, Sherilyn. It helps when people start asking questions. And if you don't know, ask. You know? And some questions I might get irritated by, but it's not because you guys are asking the questions. It's because the questions sometimes that get asked that are relevant questions end up they're used to try and shut me down. I don't have a relationship with any of my family. Almost all of them are dead. The one sister that I have that's still alive is fraudulently trying to fucking scam my insurance company over an accident that we were in that wasn't my fault, and she knows it wasn't my fault. You know? To me, family is a 4-letter word. The ones that you can be assured of the most, that are gonna slit your throat, usually have the same blood. That's how I feel. You know? Don't have any respect for any of them. For the lot of them. Smoky, because when you smoke, that's a depressant. You realize that pot is a depressant, right? So if you're depressed and you smoke pot, you know, if you smoke pot, I'm not a woman, dude. I'm not a woman. You know? Penny, please subscribe. I agree, Sherilyn. Penny, you're asking really good questions. And I did not mean to come off as irritated or put off. At the beginning, you know, at the beginning I worry about stuff like that. But then when I realize that the people are just asking legitimate questions, I'm still on the ground. Mr. Hitler, you can go fuck yourself. You know, don't like Nazis. And I don't think there's anybody in here who like fascist fucking Nazis who like to hurt people. Nobody likes them. Sherilyn, you need to thank you, Sherilyn. Thank you. Not gonna play, you know. My abuse was extreme, but there were a lot of us who went through ritual abuse. You know. There are people that have impacted me in a positive way. There are. I've been very blessed, to be quite honest. There have been people who actually have really cared about it. I appreciate you guys talking to me. I appreciate you guys asking questions. I appreciate when people are engaging. And it's not on an attack level, but just people have questions. And especially if this is new to you, and I know you care, Smokey. So do I, you know? I care too. They texted me. God only knows how many fucking texts I'm going to have afterwards. we, you know, I know that Azazel is the one that they worship, and heaven wanted me to see that because when I was out in Washington, this group of Mormons, no, they were Jehovah Witnesses. They came to my door and said that they were Jehovah Witnesses, and there was a guy standing with 3 girls, and this dude was supposed to be a Jehovah Witness, but he had round glasses that were red. He had a Doctor Who scarf where it hung from one knee, wrapped all the way around him, and then hung at the other knee. No Jehovah Witness, no man, this Jehovah Witness is going to dress like that. And I knew they weren't Jehovah Witnesses. And trying to fuck with me. And so they leave, and all of a sudden my dead sister Cindy comes into my head and says, go check your mail right now. Because I lived in my property in Washington was 2 lots. And I had a manufactured home, it was at the back of the 2 lots. So there had to have been, I don't know, 200, maybe 300 feet between me and my mailbox. And my mailbox obviously was out on the road. So I go walk into my mailbox and I see these Jehovah Witnesses coming out of a house and they see me. And so they start to walk faster to their car. So I start walking faster because I'm like, why are you walking so fast? By the time I got to my mailbox, I was at a dead fucking run. And they were at a dead run trying to get to their van, which is funny because they had a girl that she couldn't have been more than 5 feet tall. And she was round. I mean, she was a big girl. Little, but big. And the fact that she was having to run was not pleasing to her. So when I got up and they got into their car, what was the license plate on their van? Azazel. That's why I say, I know they were connected. So if I were investigators, I would start looking in all 50 states who has the license plate in each state, Azazel. Because chances are they're connected. You know? Because they just brag about all this shit. You know? They just brag about all this shit all the time. And so that's what I would do. I would find out who it is that has the license plate Azazel in each town. I know in Washington they're connected to bad guys. And it's a van that has it. And so, or a SUV type vehicle. You know, it looked like a van, but it was like an SUV type vehicle. But how hard could it be? Omaha is a big part of it because I-80 is still a huge, it's a highway that's still big on child trafficking. It's still there on trafficking. Would you quit? And so, yeah. It's just crazy. And they don't want their crimes investigated. And the reason why Doug Mesner and Daniel Dowd and Gio Farnsworth and Thomas Schoenberger and Tara Joyce and DeFango and Gabe Hoffman and Craig Sawyer and Ron Patton and all of his little group in Olympia and stuff like that, the whole reason why they're on top of me is because they don't want their child trafficking bullshit exposed that they have spent years bragging about. You know, they've gone on and on and on. It's something that, you know, they'll throw in your face if they possibly can. That's the reason why they're all on top of me. They're trying to show, you know, the Franklin cover-up book sucked. It was John DeCamp. John DeCamp was actually a gatekeeper. I believe that John Joubert was part of MK Ultra. I believe that they brought John Joubert to Omaha on purpose. They knew exactly who John Joubert was. And they were able to actually push it on to John Joubert. Stuff that was not even his fault. Not saying that the dude wasn't a fucking child killer. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying I think they knew he was a child killer, and that's why he was brought to Omaha. And then just let loose. Because they were trying to actually it's the whole reason why Franklin almost came out 10 years before it did. It started to come out in the early 70s. Everyone was whispering about it in Omaha. They still worry, they whisper about it now, but we're whispering about it all the time. What happened to change that? We had the Oakland Four. Those 4 murdered children who were murdered ritualistically styled and laid out on certain holidays, ritually done. That's what the Oakland Four were. They were the 4 kids, you know? And I know that they are still investigating it because the task force that was investigating the Oakland Four got a hold of me years and years ago. Talked to me. You know? My dad had a plane back then, and my dad was from Michigan. So it wouldn't have been that hard to do. So he just took his show and went up to Michigan and fucking abducted 4 kids up there. Murdered them. Laid them out. Thinking that all the attention would come off of Omaha and go onto Michigan, which it did. You know? Which it did. But it didn't stay that way. 10 years later, Omaha still came about. I don't trust Noreen Gosh because Noreen Gosh attacked me and has enough information to expose that shit. She has enough information to expose her son's abduction 50 times over. Paul Bonacci is involved. I've had to war with him. You know? John DeCamp's book, as great as it was, didn't talk anything about the old market that was set up as a pedophile playground in the 80s. Godfather's Pizza, arcades, it was all set up for kids. Boys Town was taking busloads of boys from Boys Town down into the old market every Saturday. Didn't talk about the Hollywood Bar where all the snuff films were being filmed in the basement. Didn't talk about Star's Restaurant. That Sam Soda that Noreen Gosh has been, oh my God, Sam Soda was involved in my son's abduction. She's never come out and said on record, Sam Soda was my boss for a while. He managed Stars, the gay bar Stars. Where was Stars? Right across the street from the Omaha police station. That had, 11 floors that was nothing but fucking windows? So you can't say that the police right next door, right across the street actually, didn't see Sam Soda going into the Stage Door Bar. How is that even possible? He was the manager of the Stage Door Bar. Didn't talk about the Max and the fact that all of the snuff films were being viewed at the Max. They were having movie night of snuff films at the Max. Didn't talk about the Run, not just the bar, the Run, that had after hours dancing for kids, opened up at 1, 2 in the morning, and then stayed open till 5 or 6 in the morning, and it only was underage kids. Or the Run itself, which was an area that was a block around the prison and the Greyhound bus station, where underage boys sold themselves for sex. Didn't talk about any of that. Didn't talk about any of the real shit, you know? Yeah, I hear that J.D. DeLay is going back to prison. It's exactly what I told you about. Cognitive. J.D. DeLay is everywhere. What I'm figuring is that J.D. DeLay is going to go to jail. Then Donald Trump is going to pardon J.D. And then, you know, well, Smokey, he just did a video saying he was going back to jail. So he did a video yesterday where he said he was going back to jail. He didn't know for how long, and he didn't know if it was just a prison or if it was a federal prison. But he just did a video yesterday saying that, you know? If Donald Trump pardons him, this is how I see it. He's known for he's Craig Sawyer right now. He's the one who, oh my God, child trafficking, he's the one dealing with it. If he goes to jail, Donald Trump pardons him, then J.D. DeLay is the hero that everyone will say no one needs to focus on the child trafficking anymore because he's got it, and Donald Trump becomes the hero. You know? I just see it happening the way that it happened. 'Cause it's not like I haven't been in this situation. I dealt with Craig Sawyer and Russ Dizdar running around trying to take all of the credit for that homeless camp being exposed when it was Isaac Cappy who was doing it and Fiona Barnett who was doing it, who were working the hardest to try and expose that. And then Isaac Cappy ends up dead, and so did Russ Dizdar, you know? I haven't done any of those kind of videos exposing areas that were involved for a long time. And so, I just, you know, I did a video of the old market. I did a video of Hummel Park. That's just it, Cognitive. No one ever gets arrested, and the kids aren't rescued. You know? He got 10 days of community service. Cool. I actually like JD DeLay. I do. And the fact that he's not letting up on this whole Epstein thing, yeah, he's on YouTube. He's on YouTube. And I think that the work he's doing is good. I personally do. And so I'm not saying anything. The jaded side of me that has been at this for a long time, of course, doesn't trust. But I just don't. You know, I've met Ivy Miller, and she did work with Soda. And Sam Soda actually worked at Star's Restaurant, or Star's Bar, which is right across the street from, and at the end of the block, right directly across the street from the same Omaha police station that Alicia Owen was carrying Chief of Police Robert Wadman's baby. Who was the first person on the scene in Illinois when Caradori's plane went down? Who was the first person on the scene? None other than Robert Wadman. Funny how it worked that way. Wow, what a fucking coincidence that was. Robert Wadman was the first one at the crash site of the very man who was trying to investigate him. You know? There are a dozen more just like Diddy. Exactly, Cognitive. I'm not seeing all the questions. Sherilyn is right. I'm not. And if there are questions that you have asked that I have not answered, I only see like 4 or 5 bars on my phone of the conversation. So if a lot of you are talking, I miss so much. That's the reason why I'm really happy Sherilyn is in here. And she has complete authority to block whoever the fuck is going to cause problems in here. Because I'm not going to have people be made uncomfortable. But if you have questions that have not been answered, or you get done watching this and they're answered, you have questions that you have there, dshurtermod@gmail.com. Thank you. Sherilyn's just put in the thing. Send it to them. Because Sherilyn is not only my friend, but she is also kind of my producer. We talk about it. She tells me, okay, this was the questions. These are the things that, you know, Sam Soda was mobbed up. He was, totally. I think the Diddy stuff is a distraction. I think he's guilty as fuck, but I also think he's a scapegoat. They're distracting, you know? Who do we want to all hear? We've all heard about Diddy and how he was recording people having sex with kids and doing all this stuff. Who are the fucking people? That's what we want to know. The same thing with Epstein. Who were the people that Epstein was providing services for? Notice how none of that shit ever comes out. We never hear about the actual people and the crimes they were involved with. We hear about how they were being set up by specific people. You know? And so we never hear about, so nothing ever gets done, you know? Because the dude that they got to procure sex for them with kids, Epstein, Alan Baer, that he was one of the key ones in Omaha at Franklin, Alan Baer. Do you hear anything about who was paying them? Who was behind them paying them? Diddy, who was paying him? You know? Diddy didn't just work alone. Epstein didn't make his billions of dollars just because he had a money tree out back. Who were his customers? We never hear about that. You know? And it's all CIA. It's all CIA. Thomas Schoenberger can say whatever the fuck he wants, saying that anyone who thinks he's part of the CIA is stupid. Well, that dude that was in that Vice interview, Vice News, he thought that Thomas Schoenberger was part of the CIA. The mere mention of Thomas Schoenberger's name got him to stand up and walk out and cancel the interview. Shane Bugbee, co-founder of the Satanic Temple, who came out against Doug, said he was full of shit. Wow, you know? Like, that's just amazing. Doug Mesner was full of shit. Said that Doug Mesner told him that he was working with the CIA, you know? But right, all the people who actually get called out for being the fucking child traffickers, they're all the honest ones. And anyone who comes out, we're all liars and frauds and fraudsters and drug addicts and just everything that they could possibly say that's bad about us. And then everyone's just like, oh, well, the child traffickers must be okay. And we're just going to go back to victim blaming and victim shaming, which is a thing. Trust me, it's a thing. I've gone through it my whole life. That's the reason why when people do it, I just don't give a shit. I don't care about uneducated motherfuckers who don't have anything other than opinions. And they're going to just tell themselves whatever stupid fucking thing they want to tell themselves. And I'm supposed to worry about that? You know? They're trying to say that I was involved with shit when I was 20 years old. 38 years ago. 38. My math has been corrected, not 28. That would have made me 10 years younger. You know? That would have made me 48. Shit, if I looked like this when I was 48, I'm not pretty now. I didn't look this old when I was 48. I'm 58 now. You know? Hey, CIA, if you're listening, fuck you. Trust me, Smokey. Several of them are in here listening. There's 30 people in here. Only 15 likes, but there's 30 people in here. Oh, they're in here fucking listening. They dote on every word I say. You know? They dote on every word I say. And they are 100% focused on me. You know? 100% focused on me. And so, 36. So it's 36 years. Well, I was 20 and I'm 58 now, so that's 38 years. If I was 20 and I'm 58 now, that's 38 years ago. There's no psychosis. And that's what they want to say. Oh, he's psychotic. But that's what they said about Isaac and Tracy Twyman and Lori King and all the other people that they fucking murder. And then they go brag about it on YouTube. I would have never known about Owen had Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth not bragged to me about it. So I believed that they murdered Owen because they came into my town and bragged about it. But because they lied and said that they were involved with Isaac, I'm psychotic for believing them. You see how that works? See how that works? You know? They're not psychotic for actual murdering Owen and bragging about it, or trying to take credit for it and bragging about it, because they bragged about it. But because I believe them, that makes me psychotic. You know? And they're totally okay. They're totally above board. Always anonymous motherfuckers. They bragged about murdering someone. So what, it's my fault they're stupid? I've never murdered anybody, and I've never murdered anybody. But I've watched enough fucking television to realize, aren't you supposed to hide that shit? You're not supposed to go brag about it, right? I mean, that is like CSI and all of those. You know? But because they bragged about it and they're fucking stupid, that makes me psychotic. Because they can't control their own fucking behavior. Do you see how do you see how that's you can't win that game, you know? And anybody who actually believes their shit, you need to go to the doctor immediately. Because obviously your head is lodged so far up your ass, you're on the verge of asphyxiation. That's how I look at it, you know? I've seen psychotic and you're not it. Exactly, cognitive. Just, you know, you've dealt with therapy stuff. It's been my therapist who has actually said, just because they do not like the fact of what I'm saying, doesn't make me psychotic. It just means they don't like what I've said, you know? And I wasn't part of anything that Walt and Mark were involved with, and to be quite honest, whatever they say they were involved with, I think is a lie anyway. I never saw the shit, and I know goddamn well that Walt was not who they presented him to be. The dude couldn't speak. He couldn't speak to people. He was so shy and so timid, and he couldn't speak to people. But he's supposed to be this fucking huge, you know, kingpin of child trafficking. But the dude lived in his mom and dad's basement and couldn't speak to anybody, you know? And Daniel Dowd and Doug Mesner and Gio Farnsworth, who weren't fucking there, who didn't, they know more about the early Iowa gas station explosion than I do, and I was fucking there. But they know way more about it. Tara Joyce knows all about everything. Hasn't been there, wasn't involved at all, but knows everything about everything. And I'm supposed to respect that, and if I don't respect it, then I'm crazy and psychotic. Because I look at them as fucking criminal dumbasses. You know? See how it works? It's just... But I'm going to pray. That'll put me in a better mood, and I'm keeping this in an hour. Sherilyn's fingers are probably tired too, because fuck, she's been having to block these idiots left and right. Anyway, heaven, we come to you. I come to you as one of your children. We are here. I know there's an army of us to raise awareness, to help people get through this time. Volcanoes are blowing up all over the place. Going off. We're at the end times. And we do what we can do. And nothing is possible without you. And through you, all things are possible. And we have to remember that and have faith. I just want to thank you for the last couple days. It's been exhausting. It started off, but if you watch Stefan Burns and what happened underwater with the Schumann residents, he wouldn't come out and specifically say it, but it's almost as if they blew a nuclear bomb up underwater, you know? Probably not the best time to be blowing up fucking radiation bombs, even if they're under the water, with everything that's going on in the planet. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a great time to blow off a fucking nuclear bomb. But something caused the shit that happened the other day. But I've been exhausted the last couple days. And not to mention fighting with all of their bullshit. Oh my god, it is just crazy making. And anyone who buys into their shit is stupid. I'm sorry, but is stupid. They will say something and then a second later in the same breath contradict what they just said. They lie constantly, all the time. And if you believe that, you're an idiot. That's just how I look at it. It's a judgment on my call. We're not supposed to judge, but I'm trying to be as loving as possible. Yesterday was full of love. Yesterday was full of love. But it was also payday. It's always a bad time. I got caught with a bunch of bills that always come due around this time, and so it's what now, the 5th, and I have $30 to get me through the entire month. I'm really tired of poverty. But I'm sure heaven has other things to worry about than my finances. But there have been people who have helped out, and I can't. It's just, I'm grateful. I am. And even those who have not been able to help out financially, even their prayers, that helps. It all helps. And I'm grateful for it all. And I feel way more grateful because I think I have something that not even Fiona Barnett and Isaac Cappy had, because they got kind of left in the dirt in the end. And that hasn't happened to me. I have people who actually care. Even if it's $5, it still shows that people give a shit, you know? And this child trafficking stuff, I'll never stop. I'll never stop. I'll never stop trying to expose this. And I know that I'm not alone in that. Just, there are names that come to mind. They come in here. I know I'm not alone in that, you know? Susan and Sherilyn and Cognitive and Smokey and just, there's a whole slew of us. I'm not getting all the names because it's almost impossible, because there's an army of us. And I'm appreciative of that. I'm appreciative that you sent your son, our brother, Jesus Christ, down to teach us the word. To give us a way so we could identify with grace. And I'm just grateful for everything. And I pray that you bring these child killers down in the harshest way possible. And soon. Sooner than not. I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to pray for, but that's what I'm praying for. And we say these things lovingly and gratefully in your Son, our brother's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Get some love. And they do eat their own gov. And they're just projecting their own shit onto me. They think if they can try and make fake-ass videos and fake-ass... Everything they're doing is fake. It's just... And they're on top of me. And the fact that they've been on top of me like this for 2 decades, and now suddenly, oh my God, we have the... You know, it's stupid. That's the reason why I don't worry about it, because it's stupid. And anyone who believes it is an idiot. You know? But, they're trying to project all of their bullshit onto me because they think that's what's going to save them. But heaven's not duped. And I don't think a lot of other people are either. And that's just... But I'm in an hour. And I want to keep it short. I like these during the week to be an hour. People listen to them. And, people watch out over you, Nathan. Cognitive just mentioning your name. There's a lot of people who care about you. Stop entertaining them by self-destructing. The dumbasses are just, they're jacking off watching you self-destruct. And there's no reason for it. You're smart. You're bright. You're a lot stronger than you give yourself credit for. And I will put the link to davidshurter.com. If you want to see what's going on, I've been posting all of it on davidshurter.com. But all of that shit is due at the end of this month. The security, I have to pay for the security again. The annual fee for security. I have to pay for the domain again. Like and subscribe. The donations that are going, any donations that come in now are going to go, because it's going to, it generally costs me $500 to do the shit that I need to do to redo this blog. That's the reason why I don't feel bad about asking for money. Because I've been doing this since 2011, I've been paying on this all on my own, and I can't do it anymore. You know? And so, I don't smoke cigarettes. Don't smoke, you know. Non-smoker. Non-smoker. Don't have any interest in smoking cigarettes. I have shitty teeth because I've been on disability for my whole fucking adult life. And Medicaid and Medicare don't do dental. You know? Everyone who seems to think that they're going to take the money away from the poor people and suddenly they're going to have more money. Again, you need to pull your head out of your fucking ass. You know? Medicaid and Medicare don't pay for dental. Don't do alcohol either. My mom was a binge drinker. Not into alcohol. What kind of fucking drugs are you on? That's what I want to know. What fucking drugs are you on? Because it's fucking meth, I bet. You know? When you're not jacking off to child porn and then accusing everybody else of doing what you're doing. You know? That's the shit. But Geo's, they're all in here. They're all in here. You know they are. Fuck, they were texting me. They're in here. You know? And with the emojis, that's Geo. Because Geo has to use emojis because he doesn't have a brain enough to articulate himself in any way that it makes sense. You know? Education's not a big thing in jail. For some people. For some people, it's exactly where they go get their education. You know? But with that said, I'm out of here.